This is the Midday News on QTV and I am Umudu Gajaga. Welcome and thank you for joining us. First, we'll look at our main news headlines. The National Assembly has urged the Justice Minister to apologize for his failure to attend business of Parliament, which was considering bills for which he is responsible. On the sidelines of the 35th Ordinary Summit of the African Union in Addis Ababa, the Vice President joined in to launch of the Smart Finance and Digital Banking Initiative to support the African SMEs, women and youth. The Minister of Fisheries, Water Resources and National Assembly Matters, James F.P. Gomez, on Saturday presided over the official inauguration of the Bluefin Company, a fish processing factory in Tangier. The Gambia on Tuesday took delivery of donated state-of-the-art automatic hydrometeorological equipment for the Department of Water Resources. And in sports news, following their AFCON celebration, Senegalese brought their nation to a standstill on Monday, which was declared a public holiday. Senegalese nationals in the United States of America also celebrated. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is the Midday News on QTV. The National Assembly has urged the Justice Minister to tender a letter of apology for his failure to attend business of Parliament he is responsible for. In addition, the Assembly's Business Committee is urged to convene urgently to review the conduct of the Minister in accordance with relevant constitutional provisions for further action by the plenary, which could result in a contempt charge against the Minister. Odulamin Choi has the rest of the details.
On Tuesday, National Assembly convenes for what would have been a busy session with bills for which the Minister is responsible for consideration. However, there is no sign of the Minister, and after a long wait, the Speaker, Mariam Jack Denton, enters the chamber to announce to the Assembly what she calls the regrettable absence of the Justice Minister for the business of this session.
As presiding officer, I am very concerned that Parliament will not be able to proceed with due business today due to the unavailability of the Honorable Attorney General without any prior formal communication to the Office of the Speaker or the Clerk.
Such a disruption to business of Parliament is a matter of concern for the Speaker, who has asked the Assembly Business Committee to review the conduct of the Justice Minister for further action.
For this reason, I am requesting the Assembly Business Committee, that is the ABC, to urgently convene a meeting to look into this matter and review the conduct of the Honorable Attorney General in accordance with sections 74, 75, 77, 1 and 110 of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia and the various provisions of the standing orders of the National Assembly. The ABC shall then advise the plenary of this Assembly for any possible further action. Notwithstanding, the Honorable Attorney General is hereby required to tender a letter of apology to the Assembly for his failure to attend to businesses under his charge in Parliament without prejudice to the right of the Assembly to take any further action.
In the absence of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, who is government's legal advisor, the Assembly is unable to proceed, and before adjourning it, the Speaker directs a reminder to Cabinet Ministers and Government.
Honorable Cabinet Ministers, Cabinet Minister and Government at large is reminded to take the business of Parliament very seriously and to attend to their schedules accordingly. Failure of such, the Assembly will be left with no option but to charge the defaulting ministers for contempt.
The conduct of the Justice Minister leaves some lawmakers frustrated, and with the urge to exercise legal powers vested in the National Assembly, one of which could be explored to charge the Minister with contempt of Parliament. Sidi Jata, NAM for Woolly West, calls for swift action against the Justice Minister.
I don't think we should disperse from these chambers without seriously talking about this matter. I think the minister concerned should be called and be charged with contempt of Parliament. If we don't do that, then we are not helping ourselves.
According to one of the constitutional provisions referenced by the Speaker, which relates to contempt of the National Assembly, a defaulting person could be charged by the Assembly for any act or omission that obstructs or impedes the National Assembly in the performance of its function, and that the offender is liable to be reprimanded or admonished. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
On the sidelines of the 35th Ordinary Summit of the African Union in Addis Ababa, the Gambia's Vice President joined in the launch of the Smart Finance and Digital Banking, a new initiative expected to support the African SMEs, women and youth to realize financial sustainability. Alusisa reports.
The continental launch of the Smart Finance and Digital Banking Initiative for small and medium-sized enterprises, women and youth is described as a game changer. Micro, small and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, constitute 90% of total business units in Africa. At the launch at the African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Vice President Dr. Asri Toure, who led a high-powered delegation of ministers and First Lady Fatoumata Barrow, conveyed a message of congratulations from President Barrow, and on his behalf, as he looks forward to the implementation of the program at country level. Delighted by the visionary decision undertaken to ensure that African trade is facilitated on a modern, secure mechanism, VP Toure said women and youth constitute the bulk of the continent's economic endowment, and it is imperative that the demographic dividend is fully addressed. She added that the COVID-19 pandemic has necessitated innovative solutions to be devised and implemented in addressing the fundamental developmental challenges.
The AFCFTA cannot be fully harnessed, devoid of the innovative financial and technological instruments for effective trade facilities. I therefore convey the full confidence and support of His Excellency President Adam Barrow and his entire government to the AE Trade Group and join the distinguished attendees in launching this noble initiative.
Haile Mariam Desalegn, former Prime Minister of Ethiopia and current chairman of the Africa E-Trade Group, described the new initiative as historic. He said the launch marks a shift to the use of technology to build the continent's economy.
We wish to thank the African Union Commission for facilitating the signature of a second Memorandum of Understanding, which deepens our strategic partnership and provides an equal opportunity to all African Union member states to be part of Africa's grassroots digital transformation based on an innovative, integrated approach, which was described earlier by the executive team of the AE Trade Group. It is my great honor and pleasure to lead this initiative in my capacity as chairperson of the AE Trade Group, building upon many years of knowing and encouraging the founder and the CEO, Mr. Mulalem Siyu, to bring his vision to light.
According to observers, the initiative is important for the African Continental Free Trade Area and inclusive financial service and development. In a different development, the African Union Summit also elected President Macky Sall of Senegal as the chairperson of the African Union. In his acceptance speech, President Sall renewed his commitment to work with all member countries in the exercise of his mandate. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
The Minister of Fisheries, Water Resources and National Assembly Matters, James F.P. Gomez, on Saturday presided over the official inauguration of the Bluefin Company, a fish processing factory in Tangier. Omar P. Jallo attended the event, and this is his report.
The fisheries sector has enormous potential and plays a significant role in the socio-economic development of the country. The sector has great capacity for income generation and employment creation to stimulate economic growth for the eradication of poverty. The fisheries sector contributes about 12% of the country's GDP and directly and indirectly employs more than 300,000 people in the form of captured fisheries, fish processing and marketing. In his launching statement, the Minister of Fisheries, Water Resources and National Assembly Matters, James F.P. Gomez, said his ministry desired to see actors, particularly women, in the fisheries sector graduate from small-scale fish business enterprises operations to bigger enterprise engaged in value addition, processing and marketing of fish and fishery products to domestic, regional and international markets.
Fish is highly perishable under ambient heat. Therefore, The establishment of processing factories is very important in prolonging the self-fish of highly perishable fish and attainment of self-sufficiency in fish and prevent wastage. It also generates foreign exchange earnings through exportation.
The CEO of the Bluefin Company, Ijatu Jallo, explained the motivation for joining the fisheries sector despite other opportunities available in the country.
I grew up amongst fish lovers. It was my maternal uncle, Suleiman Jallo, who first got into the fishing business, and then my mom, and I followed suit in 2004 when we started selling fish at the Albert Market in Banjul and exported some to Senegal. Shortly afterwards, I moved to the Top Cell project in Bour, Senegal.
The Director of Fisheries at the Ministry of Fisheries and Water Resources, Anna Mbenga, said government through her ministry is determined to see the fisheries sector succeed in meeting the National Development Plan's objectives for enhancing employment and livelihood opportunities, income and foreign exchange earnings, food and nutrition security.
The sustainable utilization of the fisheries demand for approaches to governance, including fisheries management, but more so development planning. So you will agree with me that the involvement of more Gambian investors in the sector is vital and in realizing the sustainable benefits from fisheries resources. Government cannot do it all. Therefore, Gambians should venture in the fisheries sector to enhance the realization of its benefit and contribute their quota in the food sufficiency for the people.
Bluefin Fishing Company is a Gambian-owned investment entity involved in processing and trading of fish and fishery products. The factory has a capacity of 85 to 90 tons of fresh fish and fisheries products with an ice plant capacity of 5 tons and a modern fish smoking facility of 5 tons capacity with 150 direct and indirect employees. The event was attended by the Ministers of Finance and Economic Affairs and Trade and Employment, Mambrou Njie and Sidi Keita respectively. Other speakers included the Director of Corporate Affairs, Sales and Marketing BJM Management Consultancy Company, Jeneba Jallo Marong, Abdou Sanyang, the Secretary General of the Fishing Companies Association, and Kadijatu Jallo, Bluefin Company's Managing Director. Reporting for KTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Well, that report by Omar P. Jallo takes us to a short commercial break, and when we return, we'll still have some more local news for you and sports.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is the midday news on QTV. The Gambia on Tuesday took delivery of donated state-of-the-art automatic hydrometeorological equipment for the Department of Water Resources to better monitor and improve hydrological services. Aliou Cisse has the details.
Promoting transboundary hydrological observations networks, VIS donated automatic hydrological sensors to the Gambia's hydrometeorological services by the West African Science Service on Climate Change and Urban Land Use, WASCAL, through the support of the German Federal Ministry of Education and Research, is part of a wider project earmarked for several countries within the sub-region. The event was attended by key players within the Ministries of Environment, Water Resources, Higher Education and WASCAL. These state-of-the-art hydrometeorological equipment will be installed at Banjul Wharf, Balingo and Nyanija Bolong. Fat Lamin Faye, WASCAL board member, thanked WASCAL for selecting the Gambia as one of the beneficiary countries, while hoping that the data to be collected using the equipment will be useful to the country. Fai, who had served as the Gambia's Minister of Basic and Secondary Education for many years, said this is not the first time that WASCAL has provided such assistance to the country, as 2 automatic waiver stations were previously installed at Njau village in Lower Salom and Bagadaji in the Jimara district.
The equipment to be presented today are in a bid to facilitate data collection, data quality assurance, data sharing and utilization for research, education, capacity building, and the provision of hydrological services for the country. And I do hope that it will be used to effectively and efficiently serve those purposes.
James Gomez, Minister of Water Resources, and Lamin Diba, Minister of Environment, both welcomed the donation as they look forward to its proper use. They commended WASCAL for their continued intervention in the country.
My ministry will be able to increase the accuracy of our forecast, and monitoring will make Gambians safer and better informed.
I think it is no longer a secret for the whole world, and particularly the scientific community, that climate change is an emergency. It's an emergency particularly for least developed countries who are highly vulnerable to not only the vagaries of nature, but the impact, and our contributions do not match.
Director of Research at the WASCAL Competence Center based in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, Professor Kehinde O. Okujombi, stated that achieving sustainable development and climate adaptation is in increasing demand as far as weather, climate, and water information to help protect lives and livelihoods.
We really want to support our government. We want to support stakeholders, NGOs, in developing services that can be used to ameliorate and reduce the impact of climate change in our environment, in our region.
Other speakers, including Mot A. Seka, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Umar S.M. Jiba, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Water Resources, and Lamin Mai Toure, Director of the Department of Water Resources, recognized the importance of collecting timely and reliable data to address the menace of climate change. WASCAL is a leading academic and transdisciplinary organization building graduate-level scientific capacity and serving policymakers in West Africa with science-based advice on climate change adaptation and land use management. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
50 Gambian journalists on Monday began a 3-day training on conflict-sensitive journalism and countering hate speech. The training was organized by the International Press Center IPC Nigeria with funding from UNESCO Regional Office in Senegal. Omar P. Jallo is one of the participants, and this is his report.
As the world lives in an age of misinformation, disinformation and hate speech, it is sometimes difficult to tell the difference between what is true and what is not. Journalists are at the forefront of ensuring the reporting of conflict is more insightful, comprehensive and balanced. This is important to promote the understanding and tolerance necessary to positively influence conflict resolutions and peace building. Ibrahim Asila, the Minister for Information and Communication Infrastructure, commended the IPC and UNESCO for the initiative, adding that the government recognized the important role the media continues to play in the country's democracy and assure government's continuous support in creating the conducive environment for media freedom.
Even though it is the media's role to provide news and information to the public for them to make informed choices, it is also incumbent upon the media to discharge this duty responsibly and in good faith.
Sarafin Wakana, the UN resident coordinator in the Gambia, said the Gambia is a diverse democratic country of many tribes that is navigating a delicate transition from authoritarian rule to pluralism, human rights, sustainable development and press freedom, adding that the recent presidential election demonstrated that the Gambia is on the right track. However, she says the intercommunity tensions persist.
You must expose hate speech for what it is, but you should not amplify its message. And you must walk the fine line between countering hate speech and promoting the freedom of speech, which is a fundamental human right.
Landry Aragonde, the director of International Press Center, said the media can play a significant role in de-escalating and managing conflict situations and countering hate speech.
Across and within African boundaries, there seems to be renewed explosion of multidimensional conflicts, including but not limited to insurgencies, religious extremism, terrorism, banditry, coups and counter-coups.
Asan Tangara, the permanent secretary at the Office of the President, representing the Secretary General and head of the civil servants, said fake news can jeopardize a country's national unity and security. Thus, the need for such training for journalists.
This reform is to support and strengthen the government, the Gambian media sector, to contribute effectively to the democratic transition process of the country.
Mohamed Esba, the president of the Gambia Press Union, said as the country is heading to the National Assembly election, journalists have a big task to counter hate speech before, during and after the election to help prevent intercommunity tensions.
The media is so significant in ensuring there is free, fair, credible and transparent election through which people can make an informed decision. As journalists, there is a need to understand a conflict, its causes, and the negative consequences it brings to our society.
Participants in this training are drawn from print, online and broadcast media across the country and divided into 2 sets of 25. The first set were trained from the 1st to the 3rd of February 2022. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Now to sports news. While those in Senegal spill out onto the streets in celebration, QTV's U.S. correspondent tells us how U.S.-based Senegalese nationals greeted the win. Here is Hawa Sise.
Thousands took it to the streets of Senegal after the Lions of Teranga defeated Egypt in the African Cup of Nations. That enthusiasm and joy extends to Senegalese communities far from home, yet they still find a way to share the joy.
I am live out here at Lafouta. Yes, Senegal defeated Egypt 4-2 during the penalties. Fans gathered here at Lafouta to celebrate the victory. As we see on social media, crowds have gathered on the roads in Senegal, jubilating and celebrating this historic victory for Senegal. How are you guys feeling tonight?
mais léegi duñu mer waaw kii li ñu bëggoon nag mooy Coupe d'Afrique mer nañ ko nag dañaa sonnoon liggéey nañ
Most proud moment we ever had is our first time winning the championship in our history of our country. Yeah. So, you know, every February 21st, we're going to make that 2-2-1 day every February 21st.
The Senegalese community in Memphis hosted a watch party at Lafouta, bringing the community together to witness what will be a historic day for Senegal.
Man, you know, this was the best feeling to see everybody come together to support the country, because we don't always see each other like that, because everybody live in different parts of the city and stuff. So, you know, it felt good to see everybody, my cousins, my brothers, everybody, see them all come support the country, and we won today.
They said the march is more than a soccer game, for it brought the community together. Owner of Lafouta hopes this energy continues.
Man, to be honest, what this means to us today, really, I ain't got no words, but you know, this is what we're here for, this is what we do. We as a community got our own spot, we're here together, y'all come here, we turn up together.
And they tell me it's all about celebrating Senegal today, for this is a huge historic win for the country.
After a scoreless game, Senegal defeated Egypt 4-2 during penalties. In 2019, Senegal made it to the final, however, were defeated by Algeria, and this year they came to take the cup home. This historic win gives aspiring soccer players like Apply hope that he too will one day go to AFCON and bring the cup home for his country.
In Memphis, Hawa Sise, QTV News.
Wow, ngache jarama wai Senegal. Before we end this news bulletin, let's have a recap of our main news headlines. The National Assembly has urged the Justice Minister to tender a letter of apology for his failure to attend business of Parliament he is responsible for. On the sidelines of the 35th Ordinary Summit of the African Union in Addis Ababa, the Gambia's Vice President joined in the launch of the Smart Finance and Digital Banking to support the African SMEs, women and youth. The Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources and National Assembly Matters, James F.P. Gomez, on Saturday presided over the official inauguration of the Bluefin Company, a fish processing factory in Tangier. The Gambia on Tuesday took delivery of donated state-of-the-art automatic hydrometeorological equipment for the Department of Water Resources. And in sports news, following their AFCON victory celebration, Senegalese brought their nation to a standstill on Monday, which was declared a public holiday. Senegalese nationals in the United States of America also celebrated. And that's it for the Midday News. Thank you very much for watching. Join us again at night for another news.